So our first speaker is Mui Van Zandt, is a director of OMOP data networks at IQVIA, focusing on Asia. Mui is an active contributor to the community through various OHDSI working groups. She's one of the co-leaders of the China OMOP CDM Vocabulary Working Group. She leads 2 of the sub-working groups within the Themis Working Group. She has and continues to perform OMOP tutorial trainings to many different organizations and conferences such as the OHDSI Symposium, the China Hackathons, and individual universities around the world.
Okay. Where's the timer?
Down here.
I see. Hi, thank you everybody for coming in here and listening to the lightning talk. My talk today is about the journey of OHDSI into Asia. Before I begin my talk, I do want to acknowledge all the folks that helped me with this presentation as well as the posters. It does take a lot of effort to get multiple countries aligned on not just the common data model, but all the vocabulary through all the different barriers, such as their language barriers and their different customs and different traditions and cultures. So George kind of showed this earlier. It's a map of the journey of OHDSI within the world. What our focus in this particular discussion is trying to move OHDSI into Asia and talk about all the different activities that we've been trying to do throughout the different countries within Asia. Of course, we're going to first start off with Korea because most of you guys already are aware that, you know, Professor Park and the Korean folks that attend this symposium is tremendous. Did you guys know that actually 70 people from Korea came here? 70, right? All the way from the other side of the world. So it's very amazing what they did. So we're going to look a little bit into their journey. It first started in 2014 with the conversion of the first OMOP CDM at Aju University by Professor Park. Then we moved on into the conversion later on in 2015 of Gachan University, and also in 2016 we went to the National Health Insurance Service Agency. And in 2017, at the beginning, they had their first International Korean Symposium. As you can see, some of the OHDSI leaders were there as well. And I've heard about some really cool stories about where they went and the food that they ate. So maybe that's a little incentive for you guys to actually go to the Korean Symposium too, that's coming up, okay? Also in 2017, they started off their first OHDSI Data Governance Leadership meeting. And that took a lot of effort to get all those leadership folks into the same room. You know, from the inception of 2014 all the way to 2017, Professor Park and gang did a lot of work to get all these folks' attention and interest in the OMOP CDM model. Later on that year, they actually work with HIRA, which is the Insurance Review and Assessment Service Agency, to get their data into the OMOP CDM. Not going further into 2017, we had the Seoul National University Bundang Hospital. They also converted their data into the OMOP CDM. I'm being a very repetitive person about how many CDM models that they did, but it is very truly amazing how they've gotten all these hospitals to actually convert their data and use it. Have you guys noticed how many posters they have outside too? Yeah. Really amazing. So in 2018, which is what is more amazing as well, is that the FeederNet project kicked off. It's a government-sponsored project to try to get the entire nation of Korea onto the OMOP platform. Right? Amazing. Imagine all the countries if they would be willing to do that. So then we had at the end of the year, Samsung Medical University, who converted their data over to the OMOP CDM as well. Now, one thing that, you know, what Korea is trying to do is trying to truly get the entire country on. So this is the future plan that they're planning, is to try to get pretty much everyone onto the OMOP CDM. But it's not just about getting it onto the OMOP CDM, but it's also about using that data. So what they did this year in August is to do a datathon, where they had a bunch of scientists come together and a bunch of clinical doctors come together, and they actually sat there in a couple of days and was able to do 10 papers. 10, not 2, not 1, but 10 different papers that were generated from there. So if I've gotten you interested, please feel free to come to Korea and join some of the activities that we have going on there. So in October, we have a OMOP tutorial that's going to take place. And of course, earlier today, you heard about the symposium that's happening from the 12th through the 14th at a ski resort. Not in a conference room, but at a ski resort, okay? So afterwards, you can go enjoy some skiing, right? And the thrill. So with that, that is pretty much in a nutshell, very quickly wrapping up OHDSI Korea. Moving on to OHDSI China. Another impressive country that's done a lot of work throughout the last couple of years. So they started in 2016, established, and back then they only had a couple of people, very few people who started that. But as we went on in 2017, you see the number of people that actually attended their first annual symposium. It was in Hangzhou, and it was really hot in August, but everybody showed up. Okay, very, very hot day. I'm telling you, it's probably about 90 degrees, except if you add in the humidity and all, we were sweating a lot. And from there was a lot more interest that was developed. So then we decided to start doing a bit more education in China through tutorials and through hackathons to show other folks how you can do better research using the OMOP Common Data Model. So we did a hackathon in Shanghai. I was very amazed with the hackathon because it was the first time we actually did something like this in China. But what amazed me was not the amount of effort that we went through to put this on, but the amount of Koreans that actually showed up for it. Half of the class was Korean. So they flew all the way from Korea because they knew about this hackathon and attended the class. And we did a little lineup. And I didn't take a picture of it, but the lineup of Koreans on one side and the lineup of the Chinese on the other side. So it's, again, quite amazing as to the amount of work that the Korean team has gone into this. And then in 2018, we actually had another symposium in Guangzhou. And this one was extremely amazing as well because we had over 500 people show up. 500, you know, small number compared to what we have here. Yeah, very small number, right? And it was the first time we actually did tutorials in Chinese. It took me a long time to practice that, I'm telling you. I can speak English really, really well, and I can speak Cantonese really, really well, but Mandarin, I don't know, that's a different story. So it took a month to practice all that Mandarin, and to be able to do it at the speed that they can understand it, right? That took a lot of time and a lot of devotion from not just me, but the people who helped me. Because I had people who actually sat there and I would ask them a question, and they would play it back and record it and send it back to me. So there was a lot of back and forth, and that's how we did a lot of the communication. Okay, so, and then we went to Beijing for a hackathon, and then we had the China Symposium as well in 2019. And then there's an Atlas. There's a Chinese version of Atlas coming up. And then we have a psychiatry network that is now on the OMOP CDM. And it's the first we're doing an actual study with them. Then there's the Fudan activities. I'm supposed to wrap this up, so I'm going to go really quick in the next 30 seconds. We have a bunch of activities going on in China, but we're not going to go and ignore those that are in Japan. We are actually initiating a Japan OHDSI Working Group, most likely sometimes this year, so if you're interested in that, come join me. And then also we have a bunch of work that's going on in Singapore as well. So if you really want more information about it, come out to Poster 25 at 2 o'clock and come see me. All right, thank you.